You're listening to a download from the outdoorstation.co.uk. Number 429.
Hello and welcome back to another podcast on The Outdoors Station with me, your host, Bob Cartwright. The interview you are about to hear was the result of demand on our newsletter sign-up page, where you're able to suggest interesting people or UK cottage manufacturers you would like to hear more about or give some support and promotion to. Rich Jones and Roman Ackle were very specific in their comments to do with this interview, and in fact Roman was so excited when I announced that I was going to be doing it on Facebook that he made a special donation on our executive production page, which means that Roman is our executive producer for this show. Those of you who commented on Facebook also get a mention during the proceedings too. And I would also like to send out a further thank you to our favourite postman in Ohio. Bill Goodrich has been an enthusiastic listener and a long-time enthusiastic supporter, so I hope you enjoy this show too, Bill. So who am I chatting to? I'm chatting with Stormin Norman of Stormin Stove Systems.co.uk. Now, there are numerous photos over on the Outdoor Station website, and of course all the links to his eBay shop and to his website as well. So if you didn't quite catch the name, just go there. So who should be listening to this? Well, if you're interested in lightweight compact stove systems for backpacking, cycle touring or bushcraft or anything else for that matter, then sit back and enjoy.
It was a progress of my use of alcohol over the years while I've been camping, and
use of it, not consumption.
Yeah, no, it was a weight issue. Gas canisters and stoves, and they're always prone to the weight, and also always prone to break down. I've had one or two mishaps with gas stoves. And that's why I swapped to alcohol quite a few years ago. And I was making my own windshields anyway, and stoves. And the conclusion is now what you see before you.
Well, they're lovely cones and stoves and windshields. So let's just talk a bit about the actual products themselves, perhaps, and some of the work that goes into them. And we'll see where we go from there. So for the uninitiated, obviously this is a two-part, I've got one in my hands at the moment, a two-part sort of cone shield item, rather. So how thick is the material? Because it's not very thick, is it?
That material is about, let me think, that material is about 1.13 millimetres, or in feet and inches, it's about 0.86 of an inch.
Which
is 0.86 of an inch.
Wow! And is that UK material? Because No,
I source it from outside the UK.
I was going to say, because we've had a discussion ourselves about the manufacturing side, and we make a different sort of stove completely, but struggling to get thin material in the UK is an absolute nightmare. Yes,
it is. I agree with you. I've tried myself, but and the cost is astronomical for what it is.
Yeah.
The raw material. But if you source it from outside the EU, obviously it's cheaper.
Well, yes, yeah. Hopefully for the time being, anyway. It's things change. So, what brought you to having it as a two tier design?
Well, I've seen 2-tier designs on trail designs, and obviously Captain Paranoia's script was a 2-part cone, which was it fitted nicely. I mean, everything breaks down, fits inside your pot, whereas a single one-piece cone is it's not very packable. You need a long tube to pack it into. And so a two-part cone is obviously a progress of that shortening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you sent me two. You sent me one that fits the Titan MS kettle, and you sent me
Yes.
the other one which does the titanium Tibetan 1100.
Yes.
And
that one is a pot hugger, and that one is a cylindrical two-part.
Yes, yeah. But they do exactly what you say, in the sense they come apart, they fold down, they go inside the pot, and there's still space for other stuff as well.
Yes, there is. Yeah, whatever else you want to put in, like a scrub pad or whatever, a cloth, J-cloth or whatever, plus whatever else you can get in there.
Yeah.
Like tea bags or whatever, and you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So the actual material itself, you say obviously it's very thin. Now, I know from experience, when you're actually working with thin material, cutting it or pressing it or whatever is a very, very fine art, because you can end up with some very sharp edges, or the other side of it, you end up with a very rough edge, which can be equally dangerous. So what's your manufacturing process? Have you got some sort of tooling there that does this?
No, the actual, well, the majority of the tooling is bought, and it's punches and stuff, which are automatic. But the actual finish is all hand sanded.
Really?
Yes.
So how long, just if you took one item then, how long does it take you to make one particular cone?
A cone or the other one?
Well, either, really.
Cone, either. It would take me about 2 hours.
Gosh. Well, you've done a cracking job, mate. I mean, there are a lot of people that have contacted me that... I'm going to read a list of names out now. These are the people that use your products and have rave about them. Mike Gillespie, Dave Hale, Daniel Clout, Graham Pearson, Daniel Hensby, Jamie Wigham, Paul Bradbury, Phil Jackson, Craig Twiner, David McKenzie, to name but a few. But they've all been ticking the boxes and going, love the stuff, love the product. So you obviously you've hit a real core market there.
I think that I've hit a market, but I think that the actual finish itself, the product itself, is not. It's quite aesthetic. It's nice to look at. For one thing, if it had rough edges and everything, you'd sort of discard it, because you wouldn't want to use it, because of fear of ripping or cutting your fingers or whatever. But when you handle it, you can't feel a sharp edge anywhere.
No, I can a testament to that, because I'm holding it in my hand and I'm going around all the edges as you talk. So you're absolutely right there. I mean, it fulfills all sorts of needs, function and form, as you rightly say. But the bottom line is, I think, would I be right in thinking your average price is about the £18 mark, £20 mark, something like that?
That's with postage.
Yes.
I
mean, that's phenomenal value for money, really, for people who want to save weight and obviously get maximum heat out of their stoves.
Yes, I can. That's why I developed it, Bob, because the only other place you can get on a commercial basis is the US.
Yeah. Now, I met you on the TGO Challenge, last year, but we passed by a few times, but never really had a conversation. So, have you been doing backpacking and the TGO Challenge for a long time?
Well, I've been doing the challenge since 1985. Previous to that, I was backpacking as well with the Backpackers Club, which I'm no longer a member, but that's where I started, backpacking in the Backpackers Club. But previous to that, I had children, wife and children, and growing up, that sort of aspect, But I grew up in the Lake District, so I knew. I used to work on my mate's farm and that, and work on the hills around Wasdale and stuff like that. So I knew the area anyway. And
how do you think, cooking systems have changed over the years?
Basically, I don't think they've changed that much, except the jet boil idea, all in one.
The heat exchangers.
And heat exchangers, and which was the offshoot from the jet boil and stuff like that. But I don't think they're stable enough. They sit up in the air about a foot, and you've got to have them perfectly level, or if you just nudge them a little bit, everything's gone over. Not very stable at all.
I mean, they're very good for bringing things to the boil, but it's not really good for simmering or cooking. I suppose that's why the pot cozy's been such a good invention, really.
That's another thing. I mean, pot cozy's so simple, but who thought of it? Now there's bespoke pot cozies, make them out of all sorts of stuff now. Whereas you just use your woolly hat, didn't you?
Yeah, that's woolly hat and a sleeping bag.
That's it, yeah.
I've had a question from Martin in London, I'm not too sure, but he said something about packability, referring to the dismantling, and hangability. I think you must mention that somewhere in your spiel with the products. Do you have a sort of an explanation of what you were meaning by that?
No, I haven't put hangability. Hangability, it doesn't come up anywhere, Bob.
Right, in that case, then he must be... I'm just reading the rest of his message, and he's saying, how about using it with a gas canister stove, so presumably hanging it either from the pot or above the stove. It doesn't really suit that, does it?
No, because I think gas throws out too much heat. You can crank those right up, the gas stove. You probably melt the aluminium. If it was a different material, well, yes, you could use a remote stove with a cone. I can't see no problem there, because as long as the handle and the on-off valve is accessible, you've got nothing else to. It won't harm anything on the stove at all in a cone, as long as there's no plastic parts on it, which there isn't. Not on a remote stove. You've got the valve and everything on top of your cartridge, and the stove itself goes separate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you're right.
The stand and the burner, there's nothing to harm there. It won't overheat.
Yeah, well, you were right about one thing, and the thing about the gas stoves, you'd have to be careful you didn't really wind it up. You've just got to keep it on a steady heat, because the heat that's contained within the cone will do all the work for you. Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, that's why the new gas mixtures now, you don't have to turn the gas up that far to get the heat you want. Yeah. Propane, butane mix and stuff like that. In fact, they developed a new gas mixture now, which is sort of 70% propane and only 30% butane for winter camping. So that's more American-based than UK, but it copes with the cold better. When you sign up for the Outdoor Station newsletter, you have the option to give us feedback on our shows. You also have the opportunity to suggest people of interest you would like to hear more about. You can also suggest UK campsites which you feel may be unique, and cottage manufacturers who would appreciate a little exposure to a wider audience.
The Outdoor Station. Sharing the passion, appreciation and understanding for the outdoors world.
Now, talking about materials, Nick Miles, Ross Mellows and Brian Bagley are all curious to know, and I know what the answer is, but I'm going to ask you anyway, when are you bringing it out in titanium?
When I can find a decent source of titanium. And I'm testing a few pieces of titanium from different suppliers to see what the quality's like, and that's an ongoing process, but eventually I'm hoping to develop titanium and introduce a wood-burning insert as well.
Oh, okay, that sounds interesting, yeah.
I will have the... it's the same as an Esbit as well. Esbit tabs, wood-burning, methylated spirits, very similar to Trail Design's own stuff. But everybody will say I'm copying it, you see, so I just think it's a natural progression.
I think it's hard when because a lot of people will use the word copying or ripping something off or whatever. But in the camping world, a piece of material, a rectangular piece of material, is a tarp, and how many variations of a tarp can you have, and how many variations of a bag with 2 straps on it, and a piece of material with a pole stuck in it. We all seek to achieve the right item through a variety of different processes when we get to the final result, very much like this, and you say Captain Paranoia and other people as well.
Yes, that's obvious that people are going to call you plagiarism and copying and all that, but like I said, a cone's a cone, or a windshield's a windshield. And what you said, Bob, is true, It's a shape. And you utilise it as best you can. And this is my version of it.
Yeah. Well, we've had a conversation before about the price of titanium, and I think that's going to be the thing that's going to shock people most of all. If you manage to get hold of the right thickness and obviously achieve what you're aiming to do. I know from experience titanium is just so expensive, and of course with the current situation and everything, the titanium coming in from the outside the UK, it's getting even more expensive.
Yeah, oh yes, they are. That's why finding a good enough source, cost effective, is a priority. I mean, I could get titanium at a silly price, but then I'd have to charge silly money for the product, and I don't think anybody would buy it.
Yeah, it is always a problem, So, did the success of the range of stoves that you've got, did it come as a bit of a surprise to you?
No, not really, because they are going to be more accessible to UK or European purchasers and users. I thought it was inevitable that it's just going to carry on, because the only other place you're going to get them from is the US.
And did you start it then with that in mind, to start with these products and then develop into a range of other products?
Well, I'm keeping it simple, because if I go further down the line, it's more stuff to handle and it's more stuff to make. And I don't really want to go that far. Just to keep it how it is at the moment. And I'm not snowed under, but I'm steady.
Well, I think you've probably hit the sweet spot, haven't you? You managed to get out and about and still enjoy your activity outdoors, as well as make something to keep people happy. Exactly.
Yes. It's a bit of a swing away from my my previous employment, but I'm enjoying it. I enjoy making stuff anyway, because it's a satisfaction that when you finish a product and think, that's nice. I get a buzz out of it. Yeah.
Always nice. Well, what sort of started you off on actually making these themselves? Because, as you say, I mean, obviously they're made overseas and in the States and stuff, or something similar anyway. Did your friends sort of say, "Oh, you made something for yourself, that sounds good, can I have one?" Or did you actually go, "Right, I'm going to start in a big way and I'm going to do this properly and buy the equipment and all the rest of it"?
No, I started off with making cones and windshields. The cones specifically, I was importing some stainless steel mugs and pots, and selling those as a kit. The mug, the cone, and the stove as a kit. And then I made some for a few friends, and they thought they were good. So I thought, well, it looks. I'll put them on eBay and try them, and that's how it progressed from there. The eBay, and then built up my own website, and where we are at the moment.
The rest is history, as they say.
Yeah.
Right, now I want to talk to you about your gin and tonic and drinking habit, really, because...
Right, okay, yeah.
Because...
it's not my habit.
Oh, it's your wife, is it?
No, she's a non-drinker. I have other sources for that, yes. Yeah, I like to keep one product. So I only advertise one product. I don't multi-advertise. I'm not into... and I have known different Heineken, especially when they make Heineken pots for boiling water, out of American Heine pots, they call them. Really lightweight stuff for cones. Heineken got it onto the... it was onto Trail Designs. No, it wasn't Trail Designs. It was somebody else about the advert with their Heineken label. The pot still had the Heineken bump on it. So they weren't too pleased with that and asked them to remove it from the photographs. So what they did was sand it off, and that was it.
Right,
so
okay.
You could get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I must explain to listeners that what I was referring to was the little alcohol burner that you supply with your stoves. And it's a little... Well, it looks like a gin tonic can.
Exactly, that's what it is.
Yeah?
Yeah. Tonic water.
Tonic water, that's the word I was looking for. And how much fuel do they take, and how long do they burn for?
The maximum amount you put in one is 35 millilitres, and 30 millilitres, which is normal, will burn for 18 minutes.
Okay.
So an ounce of methylated spirits will burn for 18 minutes.
The Outdoor Station is your one-stop shop for audio and video entertainment for the self-powered traveller. You can find us online, on internet radio, on smartphones, on smart TVs, on YouTube, on Apple TV, on Now TV, and on Facebook. You can also stream us live via the iTunes app or TuneIn radio app. The list is continually expanding, and for full details of how to subscribe, download or stream and enjoy our massive free library, please visit theoutdoorstation.co.uk. And no doubt you've done all the calculations, but if you've got something like, what would you test on? Do you test on half a litre of water or a litre of water?
500 millilitres, well, 2 cups, which is 480 millilitres, depending on which side of the country you come from.
Right.
But two cups, which is, well, I personally, 500 millilitres of water.
Okay, and how long does it take to boil 500 ml?
It depends where you are, Bob. In a controlled environment, about between 8 and 9 minutes.
Right, okay.
That's with no draft or no wind. Draft sometimes helps, and it reduces boil times. But then other times, the cold can reduce boil,
increase the time there, yeah.
Increase the boil time.
Yeah. I mean, that's understandable, because obviously when you're taking cold, fresh spring water from thawing snow, it can be a bit chilly, to say the least. Now, do you advise people to warm up their mess, their alcohol or whatever they're using in their pocket, and the stove first, so they can light it easier in cold conditions?
I don't advise anything like that, because I take it. I assume that people would know that the methylated spirit performs better when it's a bit warmer. I usually take, because it's in a pot, the actual cylinder itself, the stove comes in, is leak-proof and airtight. So you could take that in your sleeping bag with you, and you've got instant power in the morning.
Yeah,
no faffing about trying to light your stove and that. You just put your lighter on and poof, it's away.
Indeed, that's good. Now, I notice you also do a simmering ring with the stove. Yeah, does that increase the burn time?
It significantly does. It depends what size I do 3 sizes of simmering for pots up to 100 millimeters diameter in the base. That's a size 1, size 2, size 3. So 100 up to 100 mil, up to 120, and up to 145.
Okay.
And so a size 1 simmer ring for a 100 mil diameter pot will simmer for, including the boil time, that will still burn for over an hour.
Nice. Wow, that's impressive.
So, say if you boil initially, say 8.5 minutes, and then wanted to simmer something, you'd still have 45 minutes left of simmer time on that same one fill, 30 millilitres of methylated spirits or ethanol.
Right, okay. And so you can pop the lid back on and not lose that through evaporation. That's good, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, and it wouldn't boil. It's just simmer. It would be just under boiling. So what initially what you do, you douse your stove, you douse your burner, introduce a simmer ring, then relight it. Because if you just place a simmer ring on top, the actual burner is still warm. It's still quite hot. So the methylated spirits inside, or the ethanol, is still semi-boiling, but not. So everything cools down. You place your simmer ring on, relight it, and whatever's in your pot is still hot, and that will then continue to simmer for how long you want.
Right, okay. Now, I know you also have on your website the reflective base plate as well.
I do, yes.
And so how does that... Well, I mean, it's obvious. It makes obvious sense, really, but I'm just curious from your point of view, what features that adds apart from not scorching the ground?
That gives you a steady, level base to work off without the cone or the pot hugger sinking into the ground. So if you put let's say for instance you put a cone onto grass with just a piece of tin foil underneath without covering the area of the base of the cone, that is going to sink further into the ground, therefore reducing the distance between the top of your burner and the bottom of your pot, which is fairly crucial to keep a constant distance to optimise the fuel use. So that's why I developed the base plate,
right,
to give a nice, steady, stable platform, and also to keep a constant distance between burner top and stove and pan bottom.
Okay. So if somebody wants the complete kit then, so they come to your website over on Stormin Stove Systems, and they want, shall we say, a cone for an MSR Titan, because that's nice and easy, the windshield, they don't need the windshield, a base plate, simmering ring, and a stove. What's the all-in price for them? I'm trying to work that out myself now. I don't even know. Okay.
You could tell me that probably, Bob.
Okay. I'm on your website at the moment. The cone is the cones are coming up. Where are we? The cones, right? Stormin cones. Prices.
£18 with the burner.
£18 with the burner, and then I think it's £4 for the base plate. Is it?
Yes, £4 for the base plate and £2.50 for the simmering ring.
What a bargain! That sounds...
And then obviously the postage is included, but they get the postage refunded on everything except for the cone and the burner.
Right. Okay. And what I like about your base plate, because obviously it's a nice swivel system coming from off a corner there, is that in actual fact your base plates fit inside the pots as well. Everything sits inside the pot, doesn't it?
They can if the pot is wide enough. I never designed it to fit inside the pot. But up to a certain diameter, they will.
Right.
But they will fit in end on.
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's how I fitted it in the one I took a picture of, actually.
Okay. Did you still manage to get the stove in as well?
Oh,
the burner in as well?
Yeah. No,
that's fine. Yeah.
No, excellent.
But I wouldn't. I never advise them to put a base plate in because for one thing, it could contaminate whatever you've been sitting on. You don't know what the base plate's been sitting on unless you give a good wash down. So that's why I don't advocate putting it in the pot.
Oh, good idea. So off the top of your head, roughly, how many of these have you sold now since you've been starting to make them commercially?
500.
Oh, wow.
Possibly.
Yeah. And it all sort of into UK or spread across Europe?
No, European and US, but not so many in the US.
And what sort of feedback have you had? Have you had any stories or any sort of extreme conditions they've been used in that you've sort of thought, wow, it really worked well?
No, not really. No, people don't really give me that sort of feedback, Bob. I've got no. I suppose I could introduce a page on my website to have feedback and people's opinions. But I haven't got around to that.
I think that might be a good idea. Certainly, some of the comments that have been sent to me, and also the people that joined the newsletter that wanted me to interview and find out more about the products. I think you'd have quite a good fan page going on there. That might be worthwhile doing.
Yeah, I think that's one option. But I know it's a good product because I tried it myself before I put it on the market. So it's everything there you see has been tested.
Absolutely.
It's not just thrown out there and taking a chance, on a wing and a prayer. Yeah.
So it's 2017 then, and we're sort of coming to the end of our chat. You said about the developing a wood burning or Esbit accessory to go with these. Is that something? Yes. Is that something we'll see this year?
The Esbit burner is quite simple, really. It would be based on the tonic water can. That would be the burner tray. It would be cut down to about 10 millimetre, I suppose. I have tried a few experiments with it. The Esbit burns very well in there because it burns everything, and because it's in a dished area, you don't get all that gunk and mess dropping on your base plate or whatever, and it doesn't really affect the bottom of your pot that much. Then again, burner to pot bottom is crucial on any fuel, Esbit included, because of the makeup of it does leave a residue. But in the burner that I've tried, it just leaves a small amount of ash, and that's it. It's so simple. I don't know why people haven't done it.
And what about the wood burning side? Because that must be a lot harder to think about.
The wood burner will only be if I can get the titanium.
Right.
And it's just an inverted cone inside a cone. It's an upside down cone inside another cone. So
right.
that is and a little grate to raise it off the ground to give it the oxygen to get it underneath the flame and give you a wood burning option.
Yeah, I suppose the danger of developing these sort of accessories is all of a sudden you've got lots of little bits, haven't you, that you've got to make sure you don't lose. Because if you lose one bit, then the whole lot doesn't quite work effectively. Yeah,
the thing is, Bob, everything would still fit in the pot.
Right.
Personally, I wouldn't use a wood burning option because that's that's more of a bushcrafty stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's not what I'm aiming for. It's not the people I'm aiming at. The people I'm aiming at is a lightweight backpacker.
And don't forget the cycle tourers as well. They'd be equally interested in this.
And cycle tourer. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not against having fires appropriately contained, but it's not a British thing, is it? Except, like I said, for bushcrafters and stuff like that, they make their own fire pits and whatever. So it's not aimed particularly at backpackers, but the option would be there if they wanted to buy it.
Smashing. Well, I suppose final thing, Norman, is there any message you'd like to give to your current customers? Yeah,
just keep boiling away. Keep using it and wear them out quick, because I need to sell some more.
You heard it here, folks. Keep buying the stove systems from Norman, a UK cottage manufacturer with complete cook systems for as little as £18. You won't get anything that good, that light, or for that price on AliExpress, I can tell you. My thanks to Norman, of course, for joining in and telling us more, and to our executive producer Roman Ackle for his support. Well, the weather is looking hopeful here in the UK. The snowdrops are starting to burst forth and the bluebells are pushing their way through. So it's time for a springtime backpacking trip, I reckon. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To hear or see more from our extensive free library, please visit theoutdoorstation.co.uk.